Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Javier Mesa. I'm the Chief Bargainer for the Graduate Assistants United. I figure we should just introduce ourselves to the camera very briefly and we can get started. I understand you might have a counter proposal or an exploratory motion for us.
Right.
You can go ahead, Mary.
I'm Mary Roca. I'm a member of the bargaining team for GAU.
Despite the fact that you're no longer...
Mary is still very valuable asset.
Oh, that's...
I'm sure you can see why.
Candy Churchill, United Hospital, Florida. Andrea Medina, co-president.
Hello, Dr. Chiarola, political science. I'm the organizing chair.
Hi, I'm Matt McKay, Department of Geography, PhD student. I have been GAU steward over there.
And if you guys would just introduce yourselves so we can identify voices.
Beth Lane, International Committee, GAU.
Alrita, International Healthcare Committee.
Hi, I'm Paul Duffin from the Graduate School. Bill Connellan from the Provost Office.
Bill Mercier, you have Human Resources.
All right, thank you everyone for being here. I'll let you go ahead and explain what you've got for us today, and then I imagine we'll take some time to discuss them amongst ourselves.
Oh, yeah, sure, you'll need plenty of time to discuss them yourself. Well, let me preface my comments. First, let me put the cautionary note in, and that is the proposal you put across the table on July 8th is very much far exceeds anything we would be doing for any other bargaining unit on campus. I should also remind you that in year 2, you got a raise, and everybody else on campus got one time and not a raise. Having said that, I want to talk to you what I'm calling an exploratory motion, and then I'll pass it out as soon as I'm done explaining it. It seems to me that GAU has been pretty consistent over the past several years, wanting fee relief, favoring those at the low end, and this past year trying to get something to those who are not on the new stipend system, the ones who are sort of disadvantaged as we transition to that new stipend program. And so, taking those things into account, this is not a formal proposal. The numbers are not final because of some timing issues. I know we are scheduled to finish by August 8th. If we miss that by a bit, I'm okay, but I don't want to go much beyond that because if we are to implement something in October, which is what everybody else on campus is doing, we have to go through ratification and board action. A little bit of history on the fee relief issue. In the past, it's been a challenge. And the reason it's been a challenge is we can't partially eliminate a fee. We have to either do all of a fee or none of it. And so the only way that we could work it out in the past was to do the fee relief in the form of a raise. And that's what we've done the last several times. It's not perfect, but it's worked reasonably well. We have, I think, at this point, we have an opening that gives us a way to approach fee relief differently. You have proposed 3 specific fees to eliminate. One of them, is transportation, is small enough that we probably can eliminate the whole fee and still have some money left over for raises. So here's our notion that we want to explore with you. We would like to raise the minimum from 16 to 16.5, which is not what you had in your proposal, but we'd like to do that. Effective 10/1. It would help those who were left behind with the new stipend, and it also helps those at the low end of the pay scale. We'd also like to provide a general raise effective 10/1, amount yet to be determined. And that would give everyone something. And then we would eliminate the transportation fee, still provide the service effective January 1.
Just give me a moment to kind of parse over it.
Sure.
I imagine we might have some questions.
You may have some questions, and then my guess is you'll want to go.
Yeah. I think I might have some preliminary questions.
Sure.
We all, for instance, you mentioned that 10.3B, the raise is an unknown amount. Can you give us a, some estimate of what,
Here's my problem.
Yeah.
Stephanie Nielsen, who does the data crunching for Hall, was on vacation last week. She has had some health problems this year, and so we have not been able to do as much as we normally would do. And so I had to take a wild guess as to what that might be, and I'm not comfortable suggesting that because I don't know if I can get there.
Okay. If you understand, the more ambiguous
I understand.
exploratory notions, the more the less confidence we can provide any means.
I have a question.
Sure.
Bill, you said that it's hard to eliminate line items like those fees per line or
I'm not sure I understand.
So you said it was either full fee relief or no fee relief?
Per fee.
Going to partial? Okay.
You do it for
So
some
you can-
students
so you
but
can
not
eliminate-
others, or some parts of the service but not other parts of the service. You can't kind of carve it out.
I'm just wondering why the smallest item was chosen to be taken off.
Because it's affordable.
Right, sure.
And because we want to do some other things.
You're right.
So I kind of have a follow-up question to Andre's point. In the past, when fee relief was done, it was just an amount.
Right.
How did you take that amount out of the different fees? Did you select one fee and did you buy 100, for instance, or did you didn't carve it out, the 100 divided by the 8 fees we paid?
No, we
Okay.
took 100 out and we did it in the form of a raise. It wasn't, in a strict sense, it wasn't
understand.
fee relief
I
per
understand.
se.
Okay, right. Or fee remittal, like we're requesting.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Any other questions in mind before we break out in caucus? I don't see any hands. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll do that and we'll discuss the proposal. We can meet outside to discuss it. Yes, Mike?
5 minutes, 10?
I don't know. It's hard for me to guess.
My guess is no.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
This is very different than what we've done in the past.
All right, I'll see everyone outside. All right, we're back from caucus. We're looking at the exploratory notion. I'll talk about that a little bit, then give you the opportunity to respond. Today I know you said people were out of the office, but we were expecting a counter proposal.
I understand that.
Yeah, it's a lot of people are taking their time to be here, putting a lot of work in, and we know that we'll obviously entertain whatever you throw at us, but I think in the future, things will be better if we hopefully people will be there to give you numbers. But we really, with an exploratory notion, there's a lot of ambiguities, and we will have ambiguities to return in kind, just because there's not a lot concrete here.
I think there is, but that's okay.
Okay, so we requested fee remittal because it provides kind of wholesale relief to GAs across the board.
Right.
While we appreciate the effort to provide raises to people on the lower end who are probably hurting the most. You know, with the kind of fee remittal we're requesting, that would apply to GAs all across the board. Secondly, as the 10.3B, we can't really come to any kind of decision without some kind of hard numbers. You know, we're requesting about, I think, according to my calculation, about $750 to $800 in fee relief with the proposal with the 3 fees we're asking to be remitted. I'm assuming this raise is not going to be about $800, right? So
would you give me those numbers? I don't understand.
So with my last proposal,
Yeah.
we requested remittal of 3 fees.
Right.
The financial aid fee, the activity service fee, and the transportation fee.
Right.
Assuming a student takes 24 credit hours of those, that's about $50 out of the $81.96 that they have to pay in fees per credit hour. So with the XXX and 10.3B, you know, I'm assuming that number is not going to be equal to $800 that we were, right? You're not, what is that figure? We need more direction as to what that figure is. A raise of $1 is not enticing. I'm assuming you're not offering a raise of $600 to cover the difference from our original proposal, correct?
The original proposal.
Our last proposal on July 8th.
Yeah,
right.
and how much were we talking about?
So it was saved about $750 to $800 per year, right? Because it would reduce 50 point something from each credit hour they have to pay, right? So at the end they pay less. You're not making up the difference for that in 10.3B. That's what I'm asking, right? I'm trying to get a better indication of what that figure is, because right now, without any concrete numbers, it's hard for us to move even closer to something.
Let me go back.
Go ahead. Yes.
Are you, and I want to see if this is an accurate representation of your stuff.
Sure.
So the minimum stipend, you would rather go into fee relief in some form?
Yes, generally yes.
Okay.
So we like what we see in 10.6, right, where you named a specific fee and offer, you didn't say remittal, right? I'm assuming you mean some kind of remittal mechanism where either you take on the burden or we're charged and the difference is made up to us. I'm not quite sure, but I do like that general language where this category is remitted entirely by the university.
Right. It's not a remittal, it's just, we pay it.
Right, okay. Semantic. Semantic difference.
Yeah, but, okay, so the 16 to 16.5 does not mean as much to you as additional fee relief.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Likely, given what I have to work with, any additional fee relief would have to be the old form because we wouldn't be able to swallow up the whole fee.
So this will give us an idea of kind of what you're working with. When you estimate a $500 proportional increase for new incoming students at the low end of the stipends, how many students does that apply to?
Incoming students?
Yeah. I know you can only provide an estimate, but how many people would this apply to? You know, if I'm making $18,000, you know, it doesn't, as I read it, I wouldn't be entitled to $18,500 because of the new language.
Right.
Right. So how many students would you estimate would benefit from this $500 raise or proportional raise for those with lower FTEs?
So it would be,
We'll have to get that number.
yeah, and it's a hard one, but I mean, it would be a relatively small number of TAs who are holdovers and were paid at the minimum last year, and any RAs who are not covered by the provost this year and are still being paid at the minimum.
It's not a lot.
It's not a huge number.
We'll dig that.
Would you assume it's less than 500?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Less than 200? Okay.
I
Okay.
don't know.
Thanks. I'm just trying to kind of.
Yeah.
So if we assume there's 300 of them and you're giving them $500 more, or probably less, because a lot of graduate assistants don't get the 0.5 FTE. So I'll say 500 times 300 is what, about 150,000, right? Okay, and we'll agree that's a bloated figure because some people are gonna get less than that. We don't know what the raise value is going to be. I guess you have some wiggle room or kind of hoping we'll throw some number at you. Again, I'm assuming it's not.
No,
Okay.
I'm assuming that I have to do some more number crunching
Okay.
to do that.
The transportation fee is $9.44
Per credit hour.
per credit hour, right? This will be a bloated figure, but 944 times 24, a little under 240, right?
Times 2.
Well, that's y times 2. So I'm assuming that a student is taking 24 credit hours, and they'll pay that 24 times, right? Again, bloated because some students will take less. Times there's 4,084 in the unit as a fall. Thank you, Mary. It's about $980,000 and 160. If we add that, it's about it's over $1 million, probably closer to $1,100,000. So, and again, the high variable of 10.3B, I don't know what your range for that is, how much you want to spend. I know last time we met, you talked a little bit about our proposal being about $1 to $1.5 million offered final authority. As I calculated it, that proposal would have been about $5.4 million for the university. Again, a bloated figure because some students will leave, some students don't. That included raised language, which won't apply to all GAs. And for what it's worth, the 10.5 language is reinstated. So if we were off by about $1 million or 1.5 million, and your new offer is for 1.1 million, I think that you've taken a step back.
I'm not taking a step back. I haven't calculated what the raise is.
Right. So you
If you don't
either
have the
you.
dollar amount per unit,
Yeah.
do you have the
I'm sorry.
millions, what the pool is? Do you have that figure?
Right.
You don't have it per person, but you have it per unit.
I don't understand.
So maybe I can help here. So without knowing what that triple X is, I don't know if you're taking a step back or forward, right?
No, but you just said taking a step back, and I'm saying I still have to calculate that.
Right. Okay. So until we have those calculations, we don't
I
know if you have a
understand.
step forward or back. But from our position, it sounded if you're $1 to $1.5 million off, you might have had about $4 million of authority. Are you saying you're going to invest those $3 million in 10.3B? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. So let's do $3 million across 4,084. So that actually makes out to 734.57. The cost for each GA to pay those 3 fees every year, assuming 24 credit hours, is about 744.72. So if you're going to fill the gap using raises under 10.3B to meet our proposal, you might as well just pay the fees. In fact, it might even be cheaper because you're already accounting for the transportation fee, which I've included in my calculation of the 1.1 million. So it might be cheaper, instead of investing those 3 million into additional raises, to just issue fee remittal.
Remittal's not the right term.
I understand. I'll be flexible about that. I use remittal because that's what I've been using all semester long. But that's okay.
Okay.
Whatever we choose to call the mechanism.
So let me ask the next question.
Yes.
Now I want to absorb what you're saying.
Yeah.
You would rather skip a general raise and put it all into fees.
So I don't want to speak in absolutes here. I'm just drawing this hypothetical. I think that number one, I suspect this raise is not going to be for $750. Is that fair to say?
I don't know.
Okay. It could be for more than $750. Okay. If it is, if we get a proposal that has that figure on there, I think you get a lot more serious consideration, and you might get the 10.5 back without us going to impasse over that, as it is here. But until we get that kind of hard figure,
Okay.
we're going to have we reject the exploratory notion. And I don't know if you've taken a step back You know, I understand it's negotiation. You might not throw your final authority on your first proposal. That's not good practice. I understand that. But if all that you're offering, if the raise is for $100 like we requested, you know, you take no, and I'm not saying that you're doing that here. But if the raise is only for $100 like we requested in our last proposal, then it's a serious step back from your final authority.
Okay.
By our calculations.
Okay.
So, I mean, I know it's not a proposal, but we reject the exploratory notion as it's written.
Okay.
I can, I don't know if you have another proposal on the table, if you have anything else you'd like to, any other notions you'd like to explore.
What can I do? I've got to get my numbers straight. Okay.
And so we're about 100 days in from the first bargaining session, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. You didn't have the numbers then, right? On March 25th, our first bargaining session. You didn't have them on July 8th, right? So
I didn't get any authorization until 2 weeks ago.
Okay. So I guess we can talk about what happens next. And just so we're clear, you don't have any best estimate as to what 10.3B would be.
I don't know how many times I can tell you that.
Okay.
No, I don't.
I just want to be clear. I just want to be clear.
And I'm trying to be as clear as I can too.
Excellent. So we reject the notion.
Okay.
Do you have anything else to offer today?
Nope.
Okay. We can. Do you want to work on a counter proposal? Yeah. I mean, there's no proposal to counter, technically.
So Bill, you said you got the authority a couple weeks ago?
Whenever the president announced what he was doing for other employee groups on campus, yeah.
So why negotiate before you have the authority?
We didn't want to.
Collective bargaining requires both parties to come to the table prepared to settle.
We suggested that you not come to the table back in March because we didn't know what we were going to have. You chose to do that.
Well, we can present our proposal. We were ready.
Fine.
Well,
we'll get our proposal ready.
That'd be great.
And I just have a quick question here. So I understand, and this is more for my understanding because I don't know, but it's I know you told us to look to other units to see what they're getting to base our proposal off of. There's a 3% raise going, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know the details here. There's a 3% raise going to out of staff, staff out of unit members, is that correct? Do I have that right?
It is 3%, yeah, 1% across the board and 2% merit.
2% merit, okay. I know you come ready, or you try to come ready to bargain over GA numbers, but do you happen to know how many staff members this will apply to?
Well, there's 28,000 employees.
28,000 employees, okay. So mine's about 6,000?
There are about 9,000 staff total.
Okay.
There's negotiations with AFSCME, which represents a small percentage of that number.
Okay. So this would apply to the 9,000.
That's for the staff increases.
That's for the staff increases. So they're getting at least 1% raise across 9,000.
There are some eligibility requirements.
Okay.
In terms of hire date, so not everyone on payroll on October 1st will be eligible for that. But that's a rough number.
Okay. Do you know how many are excluded for eligible? Again, I don't expect you to have this number, but if you happen to, it will give us certainly give us a lot of guidance moving forward. You know, since we've been told to compare across groups. Does that bring the number down really that much at all, or down to 8,000, 7,000? What do you guys say?
I don't know.
Okay, and I wouldn't hold you hard to these figures.
But you also have faculty, both in unit and out of unit.
Right.
You also have the IFAS folks. You have the law school. I mean, when I say we have 28,000 employees, we have 28,000 employees.
Oh, I believe you.
So
big institution.
That's a big chunk of money.
Right. But not all of them are getting 28,000 employees are not getting a 1% increase. Right. It sounds like it says 9,000.
Well, most of the continuing ones will.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out, how many this will apply to, just to give us, again, a reference for moving forward.
Yeah, most will, but I don't know what that figure is. I don't know what the hiring patterns are.
And I'm not sure we can get at it.
Okay, and what is the minimum salary for a staff member who this kind of apply to?
So in conjunction with that 1% across the board increase and the 2% merit market eligibility, there's also an announcement made at the same time to increase the minimum wage from $13 to $14 an hour.
Okay.
And so
There's a significant number of people, particularly in housing,
facility
facility
services.
services.
Would it be fair to guess a 3% pool?
Pardon?
Would it be fair to guess a 3% pool you're looking at?
That I'm looking at, in that range, yeah.
Part of the reason for being so dependent upon analytic questions is not 3%, it's the 3% of what?
Right.
Because, yeah, I mean, that's the number that we are trying to have at some point on below. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's the denominator that's the problem.
Right, I understand. That's why I asked for the minimum, because it's something I can work with, you know.
Well, and we have a complicating factor in this bargaining unit as well. We have state funded and we have non-state funded. And the PIs are responsible for paying whatever we bargain. But my authority really only looks at the state funded portion. We have to account for the other. And I use it in all my calculations, but it is a complication for us.
I understand, I just want to get a,
Yeah.
you know I like to ask questions.
Yeah.
I like to figure out what's going on. Okay, so I figure we can take this time, we are scheduled for 2 hours, but I figure we can take this time, maybe your schedule's in front of you to figure out another date we can meet.
Sure. My server's not coming up. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're stuck.
Yeah, mine doesn't want it.
Isn't Mike Crummy both phones? It's showing my calendar and no fancy new phone, it's failing to show.
No, it wasn't coming up earlier. Okay. Okay, in terms of next week, which is the end of July already, I could do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. But Thursday would have to be, the doctor's appointment in the morning, so it would have to be afternoon.
That's the one we need here, but I'm out of town on Thursday, Friday.
Okay, Tuesday and Wednesday?
Tuesday and Wednesday, so that you're looking at the 30th and 31st.
It will depend on other things being scheduled for me, but I can send an alternate once you lock in a time frame.
Okay.
Say
That's being scheduled.
Tuesday probably works better for me.
Okay.
And
Afternoon?
Tuesday afternoon, I meet with my PI 1 to 2, so after 2 p.m. works for me.
2:30?
2:30?
2:30, okay. We'll schedule it for an hour, 2:30 to 3:30.
We can do an hour and a half.
Okay, 2:30 to 4. I know this was an exploratory notion, and we talked about it. I think we're still kind of technically waiting for a proposal.
Of course.
And you'll have more time to figure out the numbers.
Right.
So we'll entertain that. I will, before we break, say I know we have some issues with 10.3. The language is still, the criteria for basing that you're eligible for a raise will constitute a continuing employee. I think that kind of makes sense, what you wrote. Previous spring is supposed to be other dates. It's something I'm amenable to. I'll end on the note that I like that 10.6, again, we're naming fees specifically. I think we're very happy to see that as a unit. We just are more interested in more generalized relief across all GAs and more
All right.
targeted relief.
Okay.
All right. We will break, and we'll be back here July 30th, 2019 at 2:30.
Yep.
All right, thank you.